was better with the plumbing tool.
Holy shit, we're back.
Cheese and rice, here we are. Jesus
Folks,
Christ.
we are not dead. I know you probably thought we were because we've been gone for so damn long.
Yeah, I caught the COVID, man. I got the COVID. It was not good.
Well, first you were in Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Then you caught the COVID. And then your house caught the COVID.
Yep, went to the East Coast, saw that ocean for the first time, and my God, was it warm and nice.
But sincerely, though, listeners, we do apologize because we were gone for a long time, and it hurt us more than it hurt you, I promise.
Yeah, but we're back, and I got some good Florida stories because, a lot of crazy shit happens in Florida.
But before you jump into Florida stories, we're drinking a good old Florida beer that you happen to bring back.
Andy Gator.
Called Andy Gator from Abita Brewing. The bottle's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. Got a big old gator on it with a king's hat, and it's 8%.
I was going to say, of course it's 8%. You probably just got this from the gas station.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Must be nice.
That must be nice.
Here in Utah, we can't do that. We have to go to the special adult liquor store for anything over 5%.
Well, we can't make our own decisions. Not here.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really
That's
good.
not bad. Mm-hmm. Okay, Florida, you did something right.
All right, man. I'll give you a choice. So I can either tell the scammed story, how I got scammed, or the funny thing that happened to me at Universal.
You're asking which one you want to tell first?
Yeah.
Let's do the funny story first.
All right. So I was at Universal, right? Just enjoying the scenes. We didn't have that fast pass because we don't got money like that. And we decided we want to go to Harry Potter World. So we were going to go to the train. That's like a Harry Potter train. It's really cool. Takes you to that Harry Potter
Platform
land.
9 3/4.
Yeah. So we go ahead and we hop on. And you're walking through this giant line, right? And there's this family of people that I think were from Japan.
Okay.
Somewhere in that area. And while we're walking through this line, they try to cut off that family midway. And they go, no, we're family, right? And so they're like, yeah, you can go across. They start doing it with me and Christine. I'm like, no, we're family. And they let us pass. But the Japanese family noticed what I said. And the guy, like the father of the family, I don't know if he's just laughing, right? While we're like in line and everything. And then he looks and makes eye contact with me and keeps laughing, points at his face and then points at me.
Oh, he knew. He's like, I see what you did.
I thought it was hilarious. I like to take advantage of those situations, and, it was comical. Yeah, we're family.
Of course
like, why wouldn't we be family?
I would have done the same thing.
Could you name one thing why we're not family? They thought it was hilarious. Yeah. And then after we got off the train, I said, bye, family. And the grandma was like, oh, see ya.
Like, bye, Lunatine.
I just thought that was hilarious. Let me jump into how I got scammed, and it's so annoying. So I go to the gas station to fill up. I'm driving a Toyota Tacoma. I love that truck. It was amazing. We rented it. So I'm filling up with gas at the gas station all by myself. And some family pulls up with like...
Was it the same family?
No. Their music's like kind of blaring. The guy rolls down his window. He's like, my friend. He like has his fist out, right? And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to fill up my gas tank. He's like, no, come here. So I go over there. And he's like, hey, man, someone stole my wallet. I need to feed my family, right? And my scamdar is going off, but I'm like, all right. I had like $80 in my wallet, so I hand the guy $20. And then he goes, no. And he pulls out the ring on his finger. And he's like, this is gold. This is a gold ring. He's like, I need more money to feed my family. I'm like, bro.
Jesus.
Like, you could tell, like, it was so scripted, right? And, like, the first time he asked for money, like, he rolled down his windows, and his kids were like, yeah, like, looking sad. And he's like, no, I need more money. And he like immediately breaks, contact. Like when I grab the ring, because he's like, here, see this. He like immediately pulls away, right? So I'm stuck with this ring. He's like, it's 4-karat gold. Just give me your money and you can have this and it'll pay you back.
Were you like next door to a pawn shop? You're like, just go sell it.
Yeah, no, like it doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm like, no, I don't want it. And he like won't take it back. And finally I get pissed. I'm like, hey man, you got a free $20 from me, right? I'm not going to give you any more money. And I went and put the ring on his dashboard and just went back to my car and left. It just like, was it a scam? I think so.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It seemed totally scripted. Like I had the opportunity to take the 20 back. I didn't do it, but it was, I don't know. It felt wrong to me.
Yeah. Only in Florida, man.
Dude, I love Florida. It was great. I loved it. The weather was amazing. Like I
Other
get
than when it
rained a
was
lot.
torrential downpour.
Oh yeah, when we were at Universal, they had to shut down because like a monsoon hit us. It was nuts. The weird thing is, a lot of British and Australian people visit there. I was really surprised. I've never met so many.
Yeah, because it's one of the ports, right, for cruises and stuff. So, like,
Yeah.
a lot of travelers from outside the U.S. land there for sure.
Super cool. I would do it again. Ocean was beautiful. Yeah. Another thing is we did a ghost tour downtown, which I've never done. I've never gone on a ghost tour. And basically what they're doing, like we just walked to bars while we had a guide that was telling us the history of like Orlando and how it was haunted and like.
Was it exclusively bars you went to?
Yeah. It's
Hell
really
yeah.
cool.
That's the good kind of ghost tour.
Oh yeah. And they gave us these little rods. I don't know what to call them, but EMP meters or no, I don't know what it's called. EMF meters. And yeah, we would ask questions and the rods were really funny. The thing that was hard for me is like, I like to like ask ridiculous questions and they're like, don't do that. The ghosts don't like it and they'll shut down.
Be respectful.
And I'll tell you, like the rods did cross, a lot of times, like we were at a bar and I'm like, you a guy or a girl. And it didn't say yes on any of them. So I said, are you gender neutral? And it crossed. I'm like, nice. I'm like, I got a gender neutral ghost. And everyone was laughing. And then
does Cleet get a free shot from this establishment? Yeah. And it crosses. You're like, hey, you got to do it.
I should have done it, man.
You should have.
So that was a highlight. I actually got some of I think they're called dowsing rods back, so we might mess with it at the end of the podcast. Oh. And the last thing is I watched Nope, the movie.
So good.
Oh my God.
So good.
So if any of you guys have not seen Nope, I am a very picky movie person, right? I don't really like movies. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing.
Do you know who co-wrote it? M. Night Shyamalan.
No, he didn't. Shut the fuck up. I was
going to see if you had changed your mind.
Bullshit. It would have been some dumbass twist at the end. It's like, it was a burrito. Like,
I'd watch it if it was a burrito. Are you kidding me?
So the show itself is you question throughout the movie, like, what the hell is going on?
No spoilers, because it's still relatively
spoilers,
new.
But I'm going to tell you, like, the macro. Like, it's like they mixed a Western alien horror movie together. And it's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I say yep to Nope because it's good.
There's one part in it where the guy says nope, and I laughed because I would have said the same thing in the same situation.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's why I like his movies, because the characters are like, they're genuine. It's not overly scripted. It's just kind of like people being people in their lives, which I think is really, really neat.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to be back, guys. I'm really excited.
Yes. Very, very excited because it was hard, and I did post on Facebook a couple times. So if you're following us on Facebook, hopefully you got the news a little bit ahead of time. Just not expecting us to not have an episode and, not be there. So we do apologize, but extremely excited to be back. And this week we're going back to Reddit for a thread that is titled, "What is the scariest ghost story you've ever heard?"
I love this. I'm so excited.
We're talking about ghost stories, so we're going to have to pull out the rods at the end of this.
Fuck yeah. Let's talk to Chris, baby.
Do you want to start or want me to?
Giddy up. Go ahead.
Okay. Giddy up. Okay, so our first story comes from Chris Thompson 7. So, not sure if scary, but really weird. 2 days after my grandfather died, the neighborhood security guard knocks on our door on a Sunday morning. He told us, "An old man came to your house earlier, knocked on your door for half an hour, and finally left." When I asked him what he wanted, he told me he needed to say goodbye to someone he had never had the chance to meet. We were all stunned, had no idea who this old man was or who he was looking for. When the guard came in, he shouted, "That's the old man!" pointing at a picture of my grandfather. My entire family froze for a minute. I'm not 100% sure if the guard was telling the truth, but I almost felt like believing that my granddad wanted to say goodbye to my newborn sister before resting in peace.
You always hear those stories of like someone who died, but like they see their apparition like very recently afterwards. Do you think there's any credence in these stories, or they're all just smoke and mirrors?
No, yeah, I think there's credence, because when my grandma first passed away, dude, I thought I could like see her and smell her perfume like for a while after, because the veil is so thin.
You think you saw her in the peripheries of your eyes? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, and I always saw shit at her house, dude. Like her house, because it was built on one of the old school pioneer trails where a lot of people died. So I think that her house had a lot of bad energy. I mean, not always bad, but I was always seeing shit. So, but yeah, I think it could be true.
Spooky shit, people. All right, let's jump into Mom's Day Prepper. She just has a lot of like bottles in the storage or something. This is a story I do not often tell. I promise, sincerely, that this has scarred me for life, and although I have looked into psychological explanations for what I heard and natural explanations for what occurred, they remain unsatisfactory.
That's a hell of an opening.
That's quite the editorial.
And it's very well put together. A lot of times on Reddit, it's like you get aggravated with how bad it's written.
I shot myself in the foot and the foot hurt. Like, oh, that could have been written better.
The foot hurted so bad.
When I was a child, I was scared of the dark. I swore to my mother I heard voices in it. They were not evil, but they were not familiar, and so they scared me. It was not uncommon in the middle of the night for me to wake up and hear whispers, as I would call them when asking my mom. She figured they were just bumps in the night, the typical kid's nightmare material. I tried often to explain to her that it was more than just that they sounded different from one another, the way people's voices do. On some nights, I would get so scared from these whispers that I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. It was an added bonus that the bathroom was directly outside of her door for my late night tinkles.
I still get the late night tinkles.
Oh yeah, gets worse when you get older.
Oh, it gets so much worse. And it's always so difficult to get out of bed.
Yeah. I should add at this point that when walking out into the hall to go to the bathroom, you look directly down the stairs that would lead you into my living room on the first floor, as my mom's bedroom was on the second floor. On one such night around Christmas, I awoke and felt the need to relieve myself. I walked out from the door and distinctly heard the phrase, "Look." And to my astonishment, a red light, almost like a spotlight, was cast upon the wall at the very bottom of the stairs.
That's not good.
Right.
Look.
That's
I'd
not
be like, nope.
That's not nightmare fuel. Nope.
Nope.
The light had no other source. It was by itself, and I was transfixed by it. Being a little kid, and it only being a few days from Christmas, I knew what this light was. It was Santa. Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
How else could he get into my house to know I was being a good boy?
I think it's more Krampus.
Yeah, right. I was so excited, and I began walking down the stairs to greet him, picking up my pace after the second step as I began to creep off the wall and fade into darkness into my living room.
Have you been a good boy this Christmas?
I'm gonna get you. That's when I heard him, a very strong masculine voice, different from the first, not at all like my father's, not to say he isn't masculine. It was just distinctly different.
A more manly man than my dad was in my home.
It said, "Stop right now. Go back up those stairs." I listened, turned around, and what happened next, I am not sure. I would believe if someone had told me the same story. After reaching the top of the stairs, I heard a very loud crash that sent me running back to my mother's bed, where I jumped straight under the covers and stayed there the whole night. When we woke the next morning, the poinsettia light, the little Christmas flower light that glowed red, my mother had put on the railing down the stairs, were pulled straight down to the bottom of the stairs, some broken from what seemed like a forceful tear, laying in a single pile. The dry skin in the living room had fallen from the wall. My mother could not explain it. My father was worried. We had been the victims of a home invasion. My sister was crying. My older sister started smoking. Just kidding.
She turned to drugs. She couldn't handle it.
Not even an army of psychologists could fix the slinkies that we call brains.
She was just spaghetti squash ever since. Anyway.
There was nothing missing. Nobody had broken in. There did not seem to be any reason this had happened. And then I saw it. And I kept quiet about it because I was so afraid that I could not force words out of my mouth. There, on the edge of the wooden dry sink, which had been facing up, were 3 indentations where the finish on the wood had been worn, almost as if in a forceful grip, something that down there had grabbed it and threw it down. That was the bang that I heard. I was mortified. After that day, I never heard a single voice again. I do not like to imagine what was waiting downstairs for me that night, if it was anything at all, but I can tell you that the reality was that something had physically acted upon 2 things in my house near the bottom of the stairwell. After this, I had never heard another whisper again, which is sad, because in some ways, I would have had liked to thank the man, masculine energy, that had stopped me from going down those stairs. This happened when I was like 7. I am almost 20 years old now, and because of this incident, I am still afraid of the dark, especially shadowy stairwells. So, when we were on the ghost tour, the lady was saying that she speaks to a lot of people that talk about their hauntings, and she says that people generally see either visual hallucinations when they're kids, or audio, or like smells, right? It's never a mix when they're young. And
see, that's weird because I had a mixture of both. Remember the story I was telling you, like the black figure over the banister that was like mumbling?
Well, like that resonated with me because I always heard audio when I was a kid, but I never saw visual. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple times where I've either heard it or like that was the only time I can recall hearing and seeing it, and it freaked me out so bad. Okay. This one comes from Sarati. Disclaimer. I submitted this in the past. All events are true. It's like at the beginning of a movie based on a true story.
That's how you know it's good, people. This is true.
My house was built in 1904. It is a single-family home, wood frame setting on a concrete block foundation. I've been living here for about 12 years. Of all the weird things that my siblings and me have seen or heard in this house, this one event is my favorite. This happened to my brother. About 10 years ago, my brother and his best friends had started a garage band playing mostly Spanish rock, alternative music but in Spanish. His friends could only get together on Sunday afternoons. They would practice into the early evening. They would usually call it quits by 8 p.m. This was the time I usually showed up and went to bed because I worked the graveyard shift. This happened in late fall, so the days were getting shorter. They had just finished a long session when the decision to head to someone else's house came about. My brother handed his car keys to his buddy so they could load up the equipment. Everyone had filed out of the basement. The tricky part was that they needed to walk all the way to the back of the basement, up the back stairs, through the kitchen doorway, down the hall, into the living room, and out onto the front porch. Everyone was outside sitting in my brother's truck waiting for him. My brother was walking up the back stairs when he remembered that he had left his pancakes in a to-go container sitting on a speaker in the basement.
You got to get the pancakes.
You can't leave
that
behind. Can't leave your pancakes. He made the decision to go back. Now, the basement is not clean, with full sight lines. There had been partitions made, and the boiler and main heating unit are right smack in the middle. So after my brother walks in, he is about to retrieve his food container when out of the corner of his eye, he sees it. A big old penis. It is a shadowy figure right at his peripheral vision. This feeling of dread and uneasiness washed over my brother. We had been taught that if you are in the presence of a spirit or a ghost and you felt a bad vibe, to say a quick prayer or to cuss at it. That's what you do.
Yeah, you either aggravate it or pray it away.
My brother chose the latter. He basically just told it, hey, fuck you. I don't have time for this shit.
I like him.
Yeah.
I enjoy this character.
Yeah, the brother is great. My brother started to walk to the back of the basement and briskly up the stairs. Closing doors and turning off lights as he was walking out, the last light switch is on the opposite side of the front door. Luckily, the door was open, and the light from the street lamp was flooding the living room with its amber light. My brother said he felt something at his back, but at no point did he turn around. As he flicked the last switch, the living room went dark, as the rest of the house. As he stepped out, he pulled on the door, closing it behind him. Still holding his food container in one hand, he jogged down the few porch steps. He walked towards the front gate. Our house resides far from the main street, essentially having a large front yard but no rear garage. As he closed the gap between himself and his friend-laden truck, he kind of smiled and thought things over in his head, mad at himself for spooking out when there was no reason. He climbed into the driver's side of the truck, putting on his seatbelt and getting ready to pull out of the parking spot directly in front of the house, when one of his friends asked, "Hey, wait, what about your brother? Isn't he coming with us?" My brother answered, "What do you mean? He went back to work early tonight. He's already gone. Do you see his car anywhere?" The next question they asked, "So then who was walking behind you when you were leaving the house?"
That's creepy, man.
Dun, dun, dun.
You know what's even more creepy? When he opened the thing to look at his pancakes, there was a weird mushroom stamp indentation on them. He still ate them anyways.
Yeah, the syrup was missing from that one spot.
So, put a dick on his pancake, man.
I know. He ate it quicker than he ever ate a pancake before.
Tasted a bit nutty.
Mushroom stamp. My God.
This story is from Destro Dub. In my old house, things like this would happen all the time. I would be sitting on my computer listening to music on my iPod while playing World of Warcraft. Periodically, at random times, the screen would flicker and my iPod's volume would just adjust either up or down. I never thought of anything of this until it continued to do so only in that house. Eventually, I just said, whatever, if it likes the song, it likes the song. However, inside this house, I had constant issues, one of which would be my sleeping in the bed/living room depending on the night and waking up to a low grumbling sound. Feeling fear strike my heart and listening to the beat of my now panicked state, I would try to move, to wake up and see what is happening. I couldn't, not even my fingertips would move. Completely conscious and able to see silhouettes, I see my cats hiss, and I can feel myself being moved as light shines over my eyes and I fall asleep again.
God damn.
This particular case, I remember waking up and seeing a man standing on this 100-foot tree in my backyard. Real tall and slender, this guy. I muster up as much strength as I can, raise up my hand, and give this guy the finger. Yes, I love these stories.
Everyone's just taking a stand against these ghosts. Hey, fuck you! Eat this! Mushroom stamping pancakes.
Eat Jesus' dick.
Hey, man.
After which, I immediately fall back asleep with a thud. I hear my back door open on the second floor, and my dogs start barking/whining from the downstairs. I was 16 and 250 pounds. No one was moving me anywhere. Realistically speaking, of course. Anyways, to this day, I swear that thing was an ET because I saw it multiple times throughout my life. Once standing in the kitchen window, which was 8 feet off the ground, that particular night, and in the first house I've ever lived in. I used to see him in my bedroom window and he would talk to me. Scariest shit I've ever experienced. Ended when I moved out of that last house and I am now 21. Edit, kind of tipsy, but that night I gave E.T. the finger was the last time he came around. I'm trying to keep it cool.
Were you like thinking he was fingering E.T.?
No, but just the visualization. I was like, ah, damn it. These stories,
It sounded
man.
like you saw Slenderman.
I love these stories, man. These people, like, this is how I would react to the situation.
Exactly.
I lifted my hand so hard, it was very difficult, and I moved that middle finger right up in front of his fucking face. I've never seen E.T. again.
And I spit in it. I flipped him off so hard I pulled a muscle.
I goddamn shook my pants. I flipped him off so hard.
The doctor had to put my finger back in its place. He said, "You flip him off so good, son." This comes from our good pal Deleted. During Hurricane Gustav in 2008, I think, I evacuated to a church in Baton Rouge with a friend and his family. I feel like a church in Baton Rouge would be a place to be, man. I really do.
Yeah, you know, fucking Louisiana. Probably got whiskey in there and some fried chicken.
I want to go to Baton Rouge so bad. Like, that's on my bucket list of places to go.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, there was an entire nursing home's worth of old people staying in the church. My friend, his family, and myself all shared one room together. In this church, there was one bathroom that was large, similar to something that would be in an elementary school, a few stalls, a trough urinal, etc. One night during the storm, my friend and I made a trip to the bathroom. The lights had since gone out, middle of the hurricane and all. The church had a musty, eerie feel to it, kind of like when you turn out the AC in a house for a few days. The area surrounding the church was also dead quiet, since there were no electricity in the area. The bathroom was several halls over from our room, so we grabbed our flashlights and set out. While walking down one long hall, we shined our flashlights ahead, and there, at the end of the hall, sat an old man in a wheelchair, in the middle of the night with no one around. So I flipped him off.
Yeah, I like this.
Now, this hall was incredibly long, so we could make him out, but we couldn't really see all of his facial features, etc. Once we grasped what we saw, we turned and looked at each other, semi-freaked out. Then we shined our flashlights back to where he was, and there was nothing there. It was as if he vanished. No signs, no sound, nothing. Needless to say, we hauled ass back to the room.
All right. This one is from Floyd to Sangan.
Okay.
The following is shamelessly stolen from a friend's experience shared on Halloween ghost hunt because we weren't having any luck ourselves.
Plagiarism.
Dude, the best stories are stolen from other people.
That's true.
You.
I just found this in a book and wrote a word for word. Here we go.
Found it the Necromicon in the woods.
It's the Necronomicon.
So let's talk about his story. This friend and a few of his college buddies were going on a similar ghost hunt themselves and had heard about some graveyard where children murdered by their mother had been buried. The graveyard was located off the main road, so my friend parked his car on the side of the road, and the group, 5 to 7 I believe, get out and followed the small path through the woods for a couple of minutes to get to the graveyard. Once there, nothing exciting happened for the first 10 minutes or so, and they had tried everything the website or wherever they heard the story told them to do. With nothing resulting, they got bored and, being typical inebriated college kids, started taunting the supposed ghosts of the mother.
Oh, I thought they were going to get to other shenanigans, which usually gets teens murdered in films.
Oh, yeah. They're like, let's split up. I think we should split up.
Let's split up and have some wicked sex.
This continued for a few minutes before they got tired and decided to go back to the car as one of the girls had to go to the bathroom. Once they got back to the car, my friend, the sober driver, tried opening the handle without unlocking the car because he hadn't locked it in the first place, but found it locked. He attributed this to a bad memory at the time. The group drove home laughing and talking like normal. After he had dropped off all the others at their homes, he went back to his own house. He got in at the same time as one of his roommates, who stopped and waited for him to pull in. The roommate had his phone out and shined the light in the window when his friend pulled in as a joke. What he saw was a tiny, baby-sized handprints all over the windows.
No. Do not go inside.
Baby hell.
You're going to get murdered by a baby.
As soon as my friend got out, he went into the house without saying a word to the roommate. The roommate, confused, went back to the car and tried to rub one of the... Hang on.
You can't pause there. You have to keep going. You have to leave that in. That was good.
Rub one out. He tried to go back and rub one of the handprints. They were on the inside of the windows. God damn it.
The roommate got tired and just decided to rub one out real quick. It was too much for him.
Guys, this is an 8% beer, okay?
Yeah, it's a little potent for us Utahns.
To this day, my friend will not speak of his drive home after he dropped off his other friends, and has since sold the car without ever driving it again. Now he has his own story, so let's hear it. This one is from my own experience. I was driving home with a friend from a tournament that we had gone to about 2 to 3 hours away. The whole weekend, it had been raining and storming very hard, and a lot of the roads were flooded. This was Indiana, so a bunch of side roads and bridges were just gone. We had to reroute around 231, since a huge section of it was underwater from where the river had flooded. We ended up going through a few side towns and back roads that were a lot higher elevation away from the other bodies of water. We were driving through one small town, and I was navigating with the GPS in the car. I would glance at it every once in a while, but I was also paying attention to what was going on outside the car, as it was raining pretty heavily still. The GPS directed us on a road that was connected up with a more main one, and we were driving on it just fine, when suddenly, my buddy slams on the brakes. We are in the middle of a graveyard and the road just ends. I look down at the GPS and then I show my buddy that the road continues straight on and straight back the way we came according to the GPS screen. He shrugs, turns around, and then we start back the way we came. Now, we had been telling ghost stories and I was not at all tired or sleepy. We had driven on one road for the last 15 miles or so, directly through town and on into the countryside before we encountered the graveyard. On the way back, we made 5 to 6 turns within this graveyard, through which we had just come on a straight road, and also suddenly spanned back a mile or so, before finally getting back on the straight road we thought we were on before. I looked at the GPS again, and I was rerouting. When it finished, the route it wanted us to take was make a U-turn and continue on the County Road 200 North for 10 miles. We both turned around in our seats to confirm that we had indeed just driven through a huge graveyard with many turns and twists in the road leading back into it.
I feel like that's typical GPS. Do a U-turn.
Yeah.
Do a U-turn.
Do a U-turn. Go back to the graveyard.
Proceed to the route.
Instead, we saw a road dead-ended into a small graveyard. We immediately drove back to the town the opposite direction of the graveyard and took a different route home. So, I guess it's scary, but it just sounds like incompetence with Google.
Yeah.
Just GPS didn't work, man.
Technology failed again.
They don't like the country. So, let's send them hillbillies to the graveyard.
There's been a couple times where GPS has taken me to some pretty sketchy places.
Damn you, Steve Jobs.
Like we had a friend a while ago. Not a friend anymore because he was a sketchy motherfucker. But we were going to go to his house and, have some drinks and some food. And it was like we'd never been there, so we got the GPS going. And it led us to under this underpass, or overpass, I should say underpass. This overpass, and the road just ended. And it's like, proceed to the route. Like, it literally brought us to this dead end. It's like, just keep going.
It's probably because you said, send me to my friend's house, and that's where he sold, products.
Through
some TVs, some sugar, I don't know.
Bags of teeth.
Yeah, bags of teeth and tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right there. Okay, another one from our good friend Deleted. Okay, this happened to me when I was a junior in high school. It was December, and it had just started snowing that evening. My best friend and I were in debate and getting ready for our state qualifiers that were the next day. We were writing our cases, and as usual, we were at each other's throats over the details of the cases. It was a stressful, tense evening. We finally finished our cases at about 3 a.m. Then we went to my room for the night. We were done master debating.
Yeah, just rubbed one out.
Almost as soon as we get into my room, we hear what sounds like water turning on in the other end of the house. No big deal, probably my parents, I think. Then we hear the front door open. I told her, I bet Mom woke up and wanted some fresh air. It made sense, I really thought that's what it was. Until we heard incredibly heavy footsteps in my living room, headed for my room. They were not anyone in my family's footsteps. Then they stopped. My friend and I looked at each other and were both freaked out, just standing, frozen, in my room. We walked closer to each other and the footsteps started again, but this time they were running towards us. We both flipped. We grabbed each other's hands out of fear and my bedroom door flew open. We both looked at the door, but nobody was there. We ran to the bathroom that's connected to my room. I closed and locked the door and stood against it. When we finally got the balls to do it, we sprinted to my parents' room, crying and hysterical. We obviously startled my parents awake. They said neither of them had gotten up. My dad grabbed his gun and looked outside. No tracks in the snow anywhere around our house.
That's a perfect situation to have a gun.
I've said it once, and I'll say it again. The sound of footsteps rapidly approaching you is one of the scariest sounds in the world.
Oh, yeah, man.
It's not good.
Like in our psyche as human beings, because when we were in the trees, when you heard something chasing you, like a leopard or a fucking cheetah or a lion, that's when you knew you were gone, dude. You were dead. That's built into you.
We started watching this show called Alone on Netflix. Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't.
So it's like they take like 10 people and they drop them off in the wilderness alone to see who can last the longest, and they pay the winner $500K.
Nice.
And we're watching the newest season, and like they're in bear country, so grizzlies are walking all over the place. It's creepy, dude. Like bears will just walk up and they're like right next to them. If a bear decides you're dead, you're dead. Like you're not winning a grizzly fight.
Oh yeah. Even if you have a gun, man, if it's not high caliber, you're done.
You can shoot a grizzly in the face and it will eat the bullet and then eat you. Like they're not fucking around. Anyway, I don't know why I thought of that about that, but
this one is from Deleted.
Hey, making a lot of appearances tonight.
I heard this when I was in Korea. One day a girl was walking home late at night after work or something. It was dark and around midnight. She lived in an apartment where they had an elevator. She got in the elevator, and when the door was about to close, a strange man with a very red hoodie entered the elevator. He apologized for scaring her and asked which floor she was heading to. Without making eye contact, she told him out of fear, and the man casually pressed the button and the one below. As they were on the way, he asked her for her cell phone if he could use it, but she declined out of suspicious and isolated herself in the corner. After seconds in silence, elevator arrived to the floor below the one girl was heading to, and the door opened. The guy slowly walked out of the door and turned around facing the elevator and the girl and just stared at her without any movement. Slowly, the door started to close from the gap. She could see him turning around, heading for the stairs, pulling a knife out of his packet. So this was poorly written and just a shitty.
Headache. So this one, like, it appears to be a story. It's written like a story, but part of the reason I love the comment, so I'm going to read this one. So it's from Deleted. Daddy, I had a bad dream. You blink your eyes and pull up on your elbows. Your clock glows red in the darkness. It's 3:23. Do you want to climb into bed and tell me about it? No, Daddy. That sounds so weird for me to say. No, Daddy.
That's kind of weird.
The oddness of the situation wakes you up more fully. You can barely make out your daughter's pale form in the darkness of your room. Why not, sweetie? Because in my dream, when I told you about the dream, the thing wearing mommy's skin sat up. For a moment, you feel paralyzed. You can't take your eyes off of your daughter. The covers behind you begin to shift. That's a little creepy.
Jesus. Well, I have another story that was replied to it.
So the comment to that first one, though, before you jump in, is time to blind elbow strike a bitch. Holy shit, that was eerie. Yeah, like if my kids ever came in and said that, I'd be throwing elbows. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I'd just say the classic Dave Chappelle line and say, gotcha, bitch.
I'm rich, bitch.
So a reply to this story is from Hey Look, Jolly Ranchers.
Where?
He says, Father, I had a bad dream. You take a sip of vodka and roll over.
Yeah.
You stare at me, the clock tower on Sambaraya Square. It's 3:23. You say, go back to sleep. There is work tomorrow. No, Father. The familiar warm buzz of vodka starts to sink in. You can barely make out your daughter's pale form in the darkness. Why is that? The vodka moya? Because in my dream, when I was about to go back to sleep, the thing wearing mother's skin sat up. You pause and face your daughter and look at her intensely. The figure behind you begins to stir. Don't talk that way about your brother. It is not his fault that we have no money for coats such as life in Moscow. God damn it. The fuck is that, man?
It's like
9 years ago.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But the comment on that one is, then your bitch wife slaps the back of your head and tells you to get up and get your daughter a drink of water. Man, that took a weird turn.
That was a weird fucking reply.
Okay. This comes from the 8th Henry. Henry the 8th. It's the 8th of the Henrys.
Buckle up.
Here's another anecdote that I originally posted with an old username. The story itself is a few months old now, but I copied and pasted the text, so it is still written as if it just happened several days ago. My grandmother is in a nursing home after suffering a stroke a few months back. Mentally, she is all there. However, her one side is partially paralyzed, and she is in rehab in the nursing home. She's been weakened by the relative lack of energy, though. On Sunday, as we were getting ready to go visit her first thing in the morning, as we always do, we got a call from the family of her old best friend. The friend had moved to Florida about 10 years ago, and they had gradually lost touch, save for a Christmas card every now and then. Well, the friend had just died very early that morning, and they were calling to inform us of her death. That's sad. When we got to the nursing home, we signed in and noticed we were the first visitors of the day. We went to my grandmother's room and said hi. We also have a little visitor's book for people to sign in her room, so we know who has visited her. Nobody had signed it since Saturday morning. As we walked into her room, she exclaimed, "Oh my, so many visitors this morning."
Well, I bet you I just was so scared last night. I don't remember who I am.
We asked what she meant. She replied that she had gotten a visit from an old dear friend that morning. It was the friend from Florida who had just passed away. She had told my grandmother that she was going away for a while, not to worry, that she would be watching out for her and that they would see each other again. My grandmother also remarked at how healthy she looked. I've never had chills run down my spine like that before. Later, I asked if anyone had been to my grandmother's room that morning, and the staff said no. We asked if any phone calls had come through for her that morning, and they again said no. They also logged phone calls for residents, and when they checked the logs, there was nothing that they had forgotten. I also, this morning, called the family of the friend in Florida to offer my condolences and ask if they had called anyone else around here. I asked under the guise that I would notify people around her, so I didn't want to double call people. They said we were the only ones they had called from around here, and the only reason they called us is because they thought my grandmother still lived with us. They had no idea until I told them this morning that she lives in a nursing home. I know it's in the realm of reality that she could have simply dreamed it, but the chances of her having a dream like that with a sort of message on the very morning that her friend died are so remote that it still gives me chills.
Wow, that was quite the story.
I guess.
So, I want to jump into this.
It's time to use the rods.
We're going to be using rods that I bought on the ghost tour. And essentially, the way that this works, so I'm going to preface this with our goal next year is to get into some type of video editing where you can see us occasionally while we pan out to stories that we talk about. So that's where we're going to go.
You guys have to look at our ugly mugs.
Tonight, you're not going to see these rods, but we are totally honest rednecks in Utah. So the way this works, and I want to explain it in this house because I've never used it in the house, is we have these two rods. And spirits, if you're listening right now, we're going to be trying to communicate with.
They kind of look like pens, almost. Like the bottom is like a pen.
It's gold colored. So spirits, the way that this works is Britton is going to be holding these rods as evenly as he can, parallel, so it's not. So it'll require you to move these rods to communicate with us. If you want to say yes, you cross the rods together. If you want to say no to a question, you bring it, the rods away. If you want to give Britton a hug, you have the rods touch his shoulders.
Just fully embrace me. Just bear hug me.
I want to say when I bought these, the people on the tour said, "Don't you ever do it in the house you live in." But Cleet don't give a goddamn fuck.
Did they really say that to you?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Don't use it in the house you live in?
Oh, yeah. I told Christine right away. I'm like, I'm going to buy these and use these in my office on our podcast. And she's like, "Don't do it." I'm like, "Come on." And she's like, "Okay."
I'm honored. I'm the first test dummy to do it in your house.
No one's done this in her house. So Britton has them in his hands. So Britton, what I want you to do is try to hold it as,
they're very wobbly.
Straight as possible.
Okay.
See, yeah, there you go. And now you just want to ask any questions. Like, let's say, you have to ask. So do you want to ask if there's any spirits in the house?
Are there any spirits in the house with us?
We have a fucking cross.
That was insane.
Hang on. Please uncross the rods if you can, so we can ask another question.
That was insane.
It was hard too, huh? There you go.
Dude, this
Uncross.
is weird.
Bring the rods back together. Bring the rocks. There we go. All right, ask another question, man.
This is weird. That was the most aggressive cross.
Oh, it was aggressive, yeah. So, are we talking? So, you ask some questions. You have to.
Are we talking to Chris right now?
No.
Nothing.
So
Okay.
let's try to figure it out. So ask it what gender it is.
Well, I have to ask yes or no. So, are you a male? No. Are you a female?
Got a yes.
It's a female. Okay.
That's creepy.
Can you uncross it for us?
Cross it for us. It'd be so much better on video.
Dude, this is so weird.
It's creepy, huh?
This is not. This is so weird.
Most spirits don't know they're dead. So let's try to figure out how old she is.
Okay,
so
I gotta reset
maybe ask, like, are you under 20 years old?
Okay, hang on. Dude, this has been like aggressively crossing.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you within the range of 20 to 30 years old?
Ask if they're under 20.
No movement. Are you under 20 years old?
Okay.
Are you over 50 years old of age?
Oh, we got a yes.
Wow. Okay, so we got a yes. So they're older than 50. Can you uncross them?
Oh, they're going, dude. They're going right away.
This is weird.
It's creepy, dude.
Like, this isn't...
All right, so it's over
This
50.
is like when you're like doing a Ouija board and someone's like, you're moving it. I'm holding completely still.
Ask them if they like cleat. Don't move. Oh, Jesus.
So it deviated. I think you can ask too. Dude, this is weird.
I guess you have to ask the questions, but...
Do you like cleat?
Oh, shit.
It didn't move.
Boy, I'm in trouble.
Okay, so you got an elderly woman here who does not like you.
All right, fair enough.
This is odd, dude.
Okay.
I'm assuming you died in this house? A little, but it didn't cross.
No, it didn't cross.
Okay. So you didn't die in this house. Were you murdered?
I don't see cross.
No cross. It got a little close, but what else should we ask?
I'm trying to think.
Did you used to live in this house?
Weird. It said no. Hang on. I want you to ask a question. Did it follow one of us? Move it back, please. What the fuck, man? Hang on.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to reset this real quick.
Reset it.
Okay, hang on. Okay, slow down. Did you follow one of us here? Jesus Christ, it said yes.
Yes, baby.
Okay.
All right, now we got to figure out who. Who did it follow?
Can you uncross, please? Oh, okay,
I thought you were talking to me. I'm an ass.
No, you're good. It's good to reset it anyway. I'm okay, so we're gonna figure out who did this. Did you follow Britain here? That's a no, dude. You brought a spirit from Florida.
You don't know. Say ask.
Did you follow Cleet here?
There's more people in this house.
Oh, damn. I don't know. What do you want me to ask?
I want to ask names. So followed someone at my house. But we can't say their name.
Did you follow someone who no longer lives here? No cross.
Okay. Did you follow the lady in the basement? Ask it.
Did you follow the lady in the basement?
Who the fuck did you follow?
Did you follow Cleet's girlfriend?
Did you follow someone from that nice family?
Did you follow someone from the nice family?
Dude, this is weird. We're not
It's
getting
not even
anything.
moving.
Yeah.
It went from like moving drastically to
It may not want to answer the question. Right? Like a ghost can say, like a ghost can be apathetic. So
Are you angry?
are you indifferent?
Are you indifferent?
I feel like the ghost may have left, bro.
Yeah, that was wild. Like, we'll have to do a video of that because that was the most aggressive turning.
I'm just gonna ask a
I've
quick
seen.
question, okay?
Let's do it.
Are there any fucking spirits here?
That's an instant yes, dude.
Yeah. Do you watch me when I fucking sleep? No.
Hang on. You gotta ask that one again. That was already on the way out.
Do you watch me when I sleep? I hear that's like a thing for you guys. I don't have it.
No. Well, that one, I think you're at an angle.
I'm trying not to. We'll just try again. You guys watch me sleep? I feel like we're getting the same answer, man.
Yeah, it's a no. Well, that's good.
Are we talking to Chris? Hang on, it already crossed first. So are we talking to Chris? Do you have good intentions for the people living in this house?
Oh, shit. That's a no.
Do you have bad intentions?
Also
I
a
don't
no.
give a fuck. All right, guys, I think I'm done. That was kind of fun,
That
though.
was insane. So maybe next time what we can do is we'll record like a TikTok of doing this. Maybe we can do that. But that was wild. It was crossing like aggressively.
Oh, yeah, man.
And then it just stopped. It just didn't move. Awesome. Yeah, I think that was really cool. So maybe next time, too, we can do a little bit of that mixed with the spirit box. Maybe we'll do like a grand finale with that, the spirit box, and a Ouija board. Just go all out.
Jesus fucking Christ. The trifecta.
I didn't know that was his middle name.
Well, guys, I just want to say, if you're listening to us tonight, we are so grateful that you support the podcast. And we're so sorry that, we haven't posted in a while. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for the fear of us getting sick or spreading COVID, we would have definitely posted an episode sooner.
Right. Definitely trying to be smart. Obviously for, both of the, the families that we have and everything. So, but yeah, the support is tremendous, and we definitely try and get as much as we possibly can. So if we don't ever record, just know that, something did come up that prevented us from doing so.
Another thing is we finally passed 200 subs. Our big thing is we want to get monetized, so we got a 5x that. So if you like the show, share it to your friends, like, share, and subscribe. But as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.